and welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speaks. It's a Tuesday. No, it's a Wednesday. It's in February. It's almost the end. Not gonna pretend what it is. This is episode 100 though. 100! 100! How fancy are we? Pretty darn fancy. That's how fancy we are. Hi, how are you? I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and the Fat Squirrel, SQRRL, on Instagram. Okay, let's do administrative goodness. Yeah. So this week is late. I'm not going to pretend I'm ever on time. But this week is late especially because there's been chaos. Not chaos of the fun, festive kind. Chaos of the kind. As some of you know, I usually I have in the past hosted the video. Really? Words. I've had coffee. I can't even lie to you. Sorry. In the past, I have hosted videos through Blip. Blip, however, has decided that they are no longer willing to allow iTunes to access your video content. So there's been a bit of a scramble. We knew about this a while ago, but we thought we had a clever workaround. Well, guess what? We didn't. We knew it was going to happen. Oh, it was just too easy. It's too easy. So I have had to change my video hosting people. Now, this hopefully should affect you in no way, unless you watch your podcast on Blip, in which case, I'm sorry, I'm not going to upload there anymore. I think that's a smaller percentage of you. The podcast will still be available on the blog, thefatsquirrel.com. It will be a different player than you're used to seeing. I'm now hosting through Vimeo. So they have lots of applications which I have not explored yet. But apparently, the salespeople tell me that they offer a lot of applications so that you can watch videos that are hosted there in lots of different places. That you can. I'll have it embedded in the blog, so you can always watch it there. It should be going to iTunes. It really should. If it doesn't, this is what you should do. You should delete your feed, because my feed didn't actually change because I was through FeedBurner before. So the feed that iTunes reads from has not actually changed. I mean, it has, but not as far as iTunes knows. Sneaky, right? So sneaky. So you should not have to delete the feed and then redo it. And all that means is delete the podcast from your iTunes, whatever, or Downcast, or whatever you're using. Feedly, whatever. Your RSS aggregator. I don't even know if that's a correct application of what they do, but it sounds good, right? Totally. So you may have to delete the feed and then just resubscribe. So just delete the podcast and then go back and search under the Fat Squirrel Speaks and then rejoin up. If that doesn't work. If that doesn't work, come to the board and let me know. Nicely, please. It should be going okay. Everything should be fine. The only kind of hiccup I'm having right now is if you watch in YouTube. I don't think Vimeo and YouTube like each other. I think they're competitors. So I'm not exactly sure how to get YouTube to have the Vimeo. The only way I know right now to do it is to upload in both places, which is a possibility. YouTube would just get their video probably a day late because I typically upload overnight because it's like 3 hours or 2 to 3 hours depending on the length of the video, and it's not always realistic for me to do that during the daytime. I think that's all. But just hang on, kids. Just hang on. Be patient with us. We're trying. We're really trying for you. I think that's all the administrativeness. Wow, that took like a few minutes to say, but it's been hours of my life. Anyway, everything should be kosher. Okay, additional administrativeness. We have the Gratitude Cal going on, and it will go through the end of March. We have received additional prizes. Are you ready? Okay. If you don't know what the Gratitude Cal is, sorry. let's rewind a moment. Part of me switching my host to Vimeo and therefore switching where iTunes is getting its information from is all of the old episodes will in all likelihood not be available on iTunes. Now, I apologize. That is an inconvenience for folks who like to watch back episodes. I don't know how realistic it would be for me to upload all of those episodes. For one thing, I have a space limit per month or per week. But for another thing, it would just be really time consuming. Because then if you can imagine, if it takes 3 hours to upload a video and there are 100 videos, that's 300 hours. That's a lot. That's a lot, kids. So I'm going to try to put the last 5 episodes up. And the other episodes will still be available embedded in the blog. And they will still be available on Blip. So they will still be in the world. They just will not be available for you to watch on iTunes or Downcast or things like that. So that was the other bit of administrativeness. Okay, I think that's all now for reals. Gratitude count. So it's running through the end of March. It will be an item for yourself, a wearable or blanket, for you. Has to be begun and ended in March to be eligible for prizes. Now you can certainly be grateful, express gratitude in your knitting. You can do that with whatever you're doing, clearly. And you can talk about it on the discussion board. I encourage that. However, you cannot enter for a prize if you do not adhere to those guidelines. They're not really guidelines because that implies that you could go out of them. Those specifications. Is that good? I think that's good. So you just want to knit with gratitude. And that can look different for different people. But basically it's an exercise in mindful knitting. And we had a great story in the thread this last week. And I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head whose gorgeous face posted it. Oh my gosh, I'm totally unprepared. Just realized something else. Oh well, we're just going. We're just going! But anyway, she posted that she was having a rough day with her wee one. And amongst all the chaos, the mitts that she knit for last year's Gratitude Cal surfaced. And she had a moment of like startling like realization of, chaos is chaos and it's up here a lot. But down here, there can still be gratitude below the chaos, right? And it helped to bring her from up here to down here where there was gratitude. So that was very exciting. And I got a little verklempt. Not gonna lie, I did. To see that she had that moment of joy amongst the insanity. Oh, that's true. So that was yay there, yeah. Thanks for sharing. So that's that. Here are the prizes. Okay, so Jika, who's one of our lovely viewers in Japan and whose face is terribly cute. I'm not gonna lie to her. Her face is super cute. She watches the show, and English is not her first language. And for whoever watches the show and English is not your first language, bless your stinking hearts, because a lot of people can't understand me who speak English as a primary language. So bless you. She's the prizes. She said actually a giant box full of prizes from Japan. Of course, I had to Google map her instantly and be like, where's this? They did not have Google Earth because I really wanted to see. But at least I got to see what her prefecture was and all that stuff. It was very exciting. And my daughter was very excited. And the postman was like, what? And I was like, I know, right? Because it was a giant box. And I had to sign for it. It was very exciting. And when I opened it up, it was full of prizes. It was full of awesome prizes. There were lots and lots of fiber prizes. So I will save those for an actual sal because it's too confusing to try to figure out who can spin and who can't. And those really need to go to only people who want to spin because they're gorgeous. So, but she sent yarn prizes too. Are you ready? So all of these prizes are from Serenity, I think. S-E-R-E Nitty. Serenity. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yarn and Fiber, and there's serenity.com. So these will be 3 separate prizes. This one is Sock Options Perfect 100% Superwash Merino. It's a heavy fingering, 350 yards, 4.5 ounces. And it's called the Romance colorway. Look how pretty that is. Second one, same base, is called Blue Hawaii. It's a little bit darker than it's reading. And the third one is the same base in the Miami colorway. Right, again, a little bit darker than his reading. They're very exciting. Right. So thank you, Jacob. I appreciate it. That's her revenue. I don't know how she feels about me saying her real name. But our next prize is from Shayna. She sent you 2 prizes. And I'm not going there's a book and a yarn for each prize. And I'm not going to pretend I'm going to remember which yarn goes with which book. So you'll get a book and a yarn. I'll remember when I actually announce the prizes. But she sent you One Skein Wonders edited by Judith Durant, and A Skein of Yarn. And this is online. Oh, this is like the same one I'm making my worsted socks with. It's 100 grams, 400 meters. Yeah, it's a number color. We're not going to pretend. So there's one. I know, right? And then the other one is Sock Yarn One Skein Wonders. And look at that. These are both beefy books. Right? I didn't steal from you at all, I promise. And it is edited by Judith Durant as well. And then you get this yarn. Same kind of outline. How fun. Right. So yay for people who send prizes. Okay. So now, shenanigans. Okay, the shenanigans this week are not super shenanigan-y. Oh. They're not super shenanigan-y. Preface. However, this last week, my daughter's school had their Martin Luther King, well, no, it was their Black History Month program. Sorry, I couldn't think of what the word was. So, but this year focused on important people in the civil rights movement. So it focused on like Martin Luther King, Ruby, little girl who was the first girl to be in an integrated school. I can't remember her Ruby's last name. Dang it. But she's grown up to be a successful businesswoman. I remember that part. Etc., etc. So last year's, I don't know if you watched the episode last year, you may have recalled me being like, I wanted to grind my eyes out with a sharp object. It was really, really long. It was like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours long, if I recall. It was actually 75 hours long. That's how long it really was. But the clock lied. But it was super long. And there were lots of PowerPoint presentations with children very awkwardly reading about the Harlem Renaissance. And it was so long. Apparently the school got the memo this year because it was an hour and it was highly entertaining. It was very interesting. Content was the content was provided at what really seems like the children's level. You know, like last year, like the fourth, I think it was the 4th through 6th graders, or maybe it was even maybe it was the junior high kids. Maybe it was like the 7th and 8th graders. But that PowerPoint, they could not read all of the words that they had in the PowerPoint. So while they, I'm sure, did make the PowerPoint, I think there was a lot of copying and pasting from the internets. Because there was lots of stumbling. Okay. But this year, it was very well done. It seemed to be actually appropriate to their age level, and they presented it in a much clearer and more interesting fashion. Okay, that's a lot to say. My kid did good. But she had a speaking part. I'm not gonna lie, I was proud. She spoke clearly and slowly. I don't know where she got that from. Not from me. But what killed me, the kindergartners. Oh my Lord. The kindergartners stood at the front of the gymnasium or whatever it's called. And they all like stood at the bottom of the stage. There were 2 little girls, one on each side on the actual stage, and they were mic'd. And they had a screen for like a slideshow of photographs. And then the little children on the bottom all linked arms and swayed while singing What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. Do you know how hard it was not to totally cry in the middle of it? I was sitting around people who did not seem to be as moved as I was. So I didn't want to be like a total lunatic because, of course, anytime I show any kind of emotion, I turn completely like fluorescent fuchsia red, some terrible color of very, very transparent skin. It was so cute. And the little girls who were like the song leaders, they were not able to see the word, like they actually had the words of the song, like karaoke style, underneath the slideshow of all of the little kids like in their classrooms, like, and like hanging out and doing work together, like all happy style, loving on each other. But the little girls could not see the words, so they actually memorized that song, and I had no idea how many verses were in that song. There were quite a few. It was rather long. And they did an excellent job. And in true children fashion, the little girls carried it, and then the little kids at the bottom they would just come in, like when they knew the words. So it was awesome, because the little girls would sing the verse about like, we don't need another mountain. We have mountains enough to climb. And then the other kids would swell in with what the world needs as love to love. Oh, this is so cute. I was so my eyes were like, I'm sure, were so shiny and full of tears. It was insane. It was so cute. So that was that. There were really no other shenanigans. Inside, very cold outside, shenanigans. Amazon Prime totally started carrying Maurice Sendak's. Now that I say that, I'm not sure exactly how you say that because I've never heard it spoken. Little Bear! We love Little Bear. Well, I love Little Bear. And when I was working full time and my daughter was a wee one, because I stopped working full time when she was almost 4. Is that right? I may be totally making that up. But anyway, before then, we had them on DVD. We didn't have all of them, but we had a lot of DVDs of Little Bear. And so the tradition was that every morning she would wake up, because she's always been a crazy early waker-upper. She would wake up every morning and come into my bedroom, and I would get her all set up with like her morning juice and her snacky breakfasty thing. And she would watch an episode of Little Bear or 2 while I got dressed and ready for work. So we had to have popcorn at like 8:30 in the morning because we found out that they were on Amazon. And we had to have a slight movie marathon. Well, TV marathon. And have popcorn at 8:30 in the morning. So if you liked that show or you enjoyed that show, it's on there now. Okay, that's all the shenanigans. Okay, let's talk about knitting and spinning. I have spinning first. I have a spinning finished object. I finished my Falkland from Spun Right Round in her Pegasus colorway. And if you remember last week, I have another bump of this to do. But this one, what I had decided to do were 4 primary colors. It was like orange, a hot pink, like a bright aqua, and a gray. So what I decided to do was split them into 3 to do 3 plies. And each ply would be orange and gray, pink and gray, blue and gray. Because I didn't know what to do with the 4th color. I wasn't going to do 4 plies, that'd be crazy. So here it is. It's about 150 yards. And I think I'm pleased with it. There it is. Focusing. Well, it's not really reading accurately. Maybe if I do this, it'll make it happier. So I think I overspun the singles slightly because it does not feel it's very springy, but it just feels a little bit more dense than I would really want it to be. Really, camera? Why are you messing with me? It's way more awesome in person. It's much brighter in person. So anyway, there's that. I think it needs to be mittens or a stuffed animal. One or the two. I really had originally planned on it being mittens, but now I'm thinking it might be a very cute, like, cat or something for my child. Or someone else's child. Then, foot. I did not bring that over. I am working on 8 ounces which I very specifically tried not to start the next 4 ounces because I wanted to show it to you in the bump. Three Waters Farm. All right, I'll be right back. So this is from Three Waters Farm. It is a 40-40-20 of Merino, Superwash Merino, and Tussa Silk. And this is the Pond Reflections colorway. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. I love Three Waters Farm color scents. Until very recently now they started doing Falkland, but until very recently they only did silk blends, and for some reason I've been really hesitant to get silk blends. I don't know why. Maybe I spun like a merino, well this is merino silk technically. I did enjoy spinning the silk though the first time I spun it, and then I guess ever since then I just haven't purchased it. I don't know why. But here's my bobbin. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I spun this long draw. When I first started, I had every intention of spinning it in a more worsted fashion, and it looked gorgeous. It was very metallic because you can see like this kind of goldishy color and the gray were the two like colors I had spun through when I was spinning it very fine. And it was beautiful. It was very shiny, and again, it looked very metallic. But then I decided that I didn't want to spin it that way. I don't know why. I'm fickle, if you haven't picked up on it. So I decided to spin it long draw, and that was super pleasant. Maybe that's why. I actually spun this in like 2 days, which is pretty good for me to do 4 ounces in 2 days. So I totally love it. It's beautiful. And so this is what it looked like in the braid. Their fiber is always a joy to work with. Never had any trouble. I've only spun a couple bumps of it, but it's beautiful. I love their color sense. It's a little bit pricey for me. I'm kind of cheap. But I've never been disappointed. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Again, part of the reason I don't spin silk blends, I think, is because they are just more expensive. Okay, now, knitting. Oh, also at the end. Knitting finished objects. I have one. It's almost March, but I just finished my Christmas socks. Whatever, don't judge. This is Under the Mistletoe by Juliana's Fiber. And I think it's an 80-20 Superwash Merino nylon, I think. Is it not gorgeous? Do you see there's 2 colors of green? There's the brown, the red, the dark green, and light green. I did an afterthought heel, and afterthought heel. I made them a little short in the cuff. I don't know what that was about, but they still are fine. I think I was getting impatient. Oh, so pretty. I really enjoyed this yarn. I don't know why it took me so long. I just didn't knit on them. They were my purse knitting for a long time, and that just doesn't get very much attention. But they're gorgeous. It was very hard not to wear them before the podcast. Yay them. Okay, knitting works in progress. I'm still knitting on my Ravelinix project, which is my not Viajon, but it looks exactly, I mean, I've knit like this much on it, but it looks the same to you, so I'm not going to show. Oh, my gloves I talked about last week, which I think I forgot to write that on here. I did, and I apologize. I'm not sure who wrote the pattern, but they are the I-cord gloves, and the I-cord finger was a technique put forth by Meg Swanson, and I finished a glove. I finished a glove, and I'm making them with hand spun. It is an 85-15 Superwash BFL 15% nylon blend from Gale's Fiber, Gale's Art in the stony colorway. So there's the glove. I totally finished it. Now, can you see that? You see there's a little bit of laddering, but I have not blocked them yet. So according to my test finger that I knit, should block out. I made my index finger too long. like that much too long. Oopsie. That's okay. There are worse things in life. I did not change the pattern, except I did do some, when I was doing the thumb gusset, I realized that this was a little bit bigger than I needed it to be. So I did just do like 6 decreases over here. Like three rows of decreasing twice. I did that over here. So I think we like them. Again, they're not blocked yet, but I think I'm going to like them. And since it was 5 below degrees today, 5 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, with a wind chill of, yeah, that was the wind chill, I'm sorry. This morning when we went to the bus stop, I really should get them finished. But I should also really get them finished, because as soon as I get them finished, it will be spring, because that's how things work, right? So really, it's my fault that it's still cold. If I could just finish these gloves, it would be warm again. So I need to do that, right? That's how it works. And then the other one, I have just joined them. So if you missed a discussion last time, this is the thumb, and you see all those ladders, because you're actually knitting the I-cord, even though it's like 18 stitches. You just go through with a crochet hook and zip that up. And it still looks like you have a ladder, but the test finger indicated that the ladder will disappear with blocking. We'll see if the test finger lied. So there's that. Then the lovely Sadie Blue Ruin of Knitter's Nightmare sent me a new to her base, and I apologize. I don't think she decided on the name of it, but it's like a Tweety base. Not Tweety, but Tweedy. And it's a worsted weight. Maybe it's technically DK, I don't know. I think it's worsted. No, it's worsted weight. She wrote me all this, so I don't have it because I stink. And it is a very, I like this base. It is unusual in that when you're knitting with it, it almost has like a cottony feel. I don't know if, I mean, I wouldn't imagine it's the neps, because they are neps. They're not like blended through, but it has almost like a cottony feel. Very good for people who are sensitive to wool, I think. Because it has, but it's not unpleasant. It's not like I'm like knitting a dishcloth like, it has enough elasticity that's still pleasant to knit with. But it has some sort of, it's reminiscent. And what I am knitting is, did I put the wrong thing in there? I did. I am knitting the Molly hat. It's been in my queue for a while, but the lovely Kansan at Heart reminded me that it would be a very good thing for me to knit. And then that combined with this yarn coming from Sadie. Serendipity. So there it is. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It is by Erin Ruth, who's knitmeasong.blogspot.com. And it calls for a skein of worsted weight. And there you have it. I am actually knitting it. She suggests size 3 US for the band and 6s for the body, and that is actually what I'm knitting them on. So if you are a tight kneader, I really should drink, apparently, before this podcast. If you're a tight knitter, you probably want to go up a couple sizes. Here it is so far. Now, the only thing I am doing differently, see, there's just like a little bit of waffliness, and there's a little bit of cabliness here. The only thing I'm doing differently is, in the pattern, it's free. I think you cast on like 100-ish stitches. Yes, and then you increase up to 121 for the actual body of the hat. So you do 100 on the ribbing. I just went ahead and did the full 100, well, I did 120 because 121 would not work. I did the full 120 cast on because I do not like, I have a 23-inch circumference head, and it says it would comfortably fit a 22-inch. So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. So I did the 23-inch, or I did the full 120 stitch cast on. I don't mind if it's loose. I'm down with that. I don't want it to be tight though. That will make me very upset. So that's all I'm doing differently. Oh my gosh, rains. It's really not been that long of an episode. I'm just stressed out about this whole thing. That's all. I apologize. Hopefully next week will be much better. Maybe bueno. I have a present to show you, and then I have shameless self-promotion. So my present came this week from Diana, and it is fiber. And the reason I'm showing, I don't always show presents, but I haven't bought anything recently. Yay me. And this is just lovely, and I've never heard of this place. And this seems like it's gonna be gorgeous. This is from Heavenly Wools. It is, the colorway is Fallen Leaves, and it's Hauni handcraft wool, 24.5 microns. But she said the name of her sheep. It's she's in New Zealand, and it is like a merino somebody cross. I'm so sorry. 25 years of intensive breeding of New Zealand half-bred, substantially a merino style breed, and Romney. So it's a merino Romney cross. Well, technically a half-bred Romney cross, but you know what I mean. So this is the Fallen Leaves colorway. I think I already said it, sorry. And it is very, I am liking it. It is very, it says its intention is to maintain the softness of the merino, but then also add a bit of luster from the longer wool. And it feels very springy and just lovely. I'm so excited about it. So thank you very much, Jana. And their prices are very reasonable. I mean, of course, you're shipping from New Zealand. If you're in New Zealand, go you. But you're shipping from New Zealand, so shipping is not inexpensive. But that just means you have to buy more to make it worth it. That's how that works. But anyway, it's just some beautiful gradients, which they've been in and out of my Etsy cart at least 4 times, and this only came in yesterday. Not even tipping. So let's see what happens. Anyway, it feels gorgeous. Beautiful colors. Feels gorgeous. Okay, shameless self-promotion. If you don't want to hang around, I'll see you next time. If you do want to hang around, secretly you're my favorites. Don't tell the other kids. Okay, so the Knitting Pipeline Retreat is coming up March 14th and 15th in Washington, Illinois. We're going. Very exciting. And I am vending. What that means to you who are not going to the retreat is that, sorry, there will not be a regular update, I don't think, before then. I really wanted to try to do one March 7th, but I just don't know if it's reasonable. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll be lightning fast and that will be reasonable, but we'll see. So I'm going to show you the bags that I have available currently for pre-order for pickup only at the retreat. So if you're not going to the retreat, don't do a pre-order. But if you are going to the retreat, you can totally do a pre-order. If you're going to the retreat and you don't want to do a pre-order, that's also fine. I will have some more at the retreat for purchase there. Also, I will have other bags, which I'm really excited about. So here's the first one. So this is the large wedge. The fabrics this time for butterflies. I really wanted to do birds because, you know, Paula, she's a birder. And last year I did birds. But I didn't find any that I was in love with. And this seemed appropriate. Because Paula talks about butterflies too. So there's this one, which is pinks. And this one, which is yellows. This secretly is my favorite. But everybody else loves the pink one, according to the pre-order. And they will, of course, have a tag on them that says Knitting Pipeline Retreat 2014 Fat Squirrel Fibers. And then, so that's that. And then the sweater size is actually the newer sweater size, which I'm still deciding on. But it's wider. It's the same proportion depth-wise and height-wise and depth-wise as the old bag, but it's 2 inches wider for the same price. Right? That's value. So here it is in the yellows. And here it is in the pinks. I really love this fabric. And of course, I don't know if you can tell, it's all linen-tastic. And just has the natural liner. Unbleached. So that pre-order will be available through March 2nd. And again, if you missed the pre-order, don't worry. I'll have some more at the retreat. In addition to other bags with different fabrics. They will not be tagged. Only this fabric will be tagged. Okay, I think that's all. I hope you have a great week. everything's okay with the podcast. We'll see. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.